Welcome back everyone to Season 8 of Round 1 of the AMF GT Dev Series, sponsored by Century Batteries Lismore, powered by RMS, Race Management Services one-stop shop, and all your iRacing software needs. I'm Steve Kirk, I'm back with Podium Broadcasting tonight. We are starting a new season off with Spa, a 90-minute race. As always in the GT Dev Series, we have a 90-minute race with three classes, should I say? Two classes, my bad, again. GTE class and GT3, we have clear skies, and it's a night race. As always, big shout out to Century Batteries. Thanks for coming on board and making this season as good as last season. So big shout out to them, and always we'll introduce our commentary team for tonight. We have Mitch Wiley, Ross Rizzo, and Damon Mulqueen joining in tonight. How you going, lads?
Good. How's everyone else going?
Yeah, pretty excited, guys.
Yeah, that was a crazy bit of an intro. I stuffed that up like 15 times, but hey.
Yeah, don't throw over to three blokes at once. That was always a recipe for disaster.
Oh, man. All right, lads. I'm going to go and do my directing thing. Yous have got it for the next 3 seconds before the race starts.
3 seconds.
Roger that. Well, as we'll go through the grid here, no surprise here. You've got Craig Edwards starting on pole, Dominic Ferris on second, Stephen Lattimore third, Tyler Blackburn fourth, Trent Thomas fifth, Philip Morton sixth, Dean Ross out of seventh, Jordan Pruden out of eighth, Nathan Anderson out of ninth, Nathan Huppets 10th, Joshua Burden 11th, Troy Maguire 12th, Justin Wallace 13th, Scott Chambers 14th, Adam Gardner 15th, William Mitchell 16th, Chris Whitaker 17th, Jeremy Clark 18th, David Mole at a 19th, Scott Nolan at a 20th, David Miller at a 21st, Gary Cousins 22nd, Michael Spithill at a 23rd, Simon I can't say his last name, sorry mate, at a 24th, and Dave Clements at a 25th. If you want to run through the GT3s, Damo?
Yeah, sure thing. So first in GT3 we've got James Gillam, Liam Tipping second, Tyler Bowen third, Grant Matterford in fourth, Paul Nichols in fifth, P. Lee, and where do I get to? I've already lost count. Anyway, Bruce Ross, Matthew Ellison, Martin Casey, Nathan Nightingale, BJ Kennedy, Matthew J. Allen, and Scott Gamble rounding out your GT3 field. And I believe the name you failed there with was Mizomo.
Yes, that's the one. As we focus on Craig Edwards, you got anything to looking forward to this one, Ross?
It's a great track, and multi-class racing always goes well in the night, so should be fun for the boys out there. So hope they have a good time.
Yes, as they drop the hammer and Craig Edwards is away, followed by Stephen Lattimore. As they come into turn one, hopefully they keep it nice and clean, as they've done very nicely indeed.
And as our GT3s take the start, James gets off to a pretty rapid start. He's pulled out a gap already, and then everyone looks a bit status quo behind. Nothing too major going on just yet.
They've all got off to a pretty clean start. As I'm looking here, Tyler Blackburn has missed the start.
That's unfortunate.
So he'll be coming back out, no doubt, sometime soon. So
It looks like we're going to have both fields come cleanly through Eau Rouge and Radion, which is a fantastic start.
I'm glad someone knows the corners around this track, because I don't.
I only know about those two, to be fairly honest.
I don't know any names of them.
So what, they're heading through on the seventh corner after Eau Rouge.
That's it. We've got Scott Nolan and Jeremy.
And we've got Simon Mizomo around in the FT1 Porsche. And here, that's going to be fun. GT3s have just come around at X.
Oh, we have a car off, sorry. That is... I've lost it. Jordan Prudent in the Porsche. As we go back to a replay and have a look at that, find out how that exactly happened, if he did it on his own or he had a little bit of help. Done it on his own, so he'd be disappointed with that one.
Yeah, the rear end just kind of let go and then swapped ends. Very similar incident for Simon as well, both in Porsches.
Yeah, they're known for that, these Porsches. Very tail happy. But everyone else has got off to a pretty clean start. I don't know how the GT3s are going, as I haven't been watching them. Has anyone else got eyes on them?
It looks like they've all come through lap 1 all fairly clean, which is a great thing to see by both classes. You always get worried. You always get worried at these sorts of tracks with corners like Eau Rouge and Huon and whatnot, where something might happen.
And especially being an endurance round, you don't want to, like, you got 90 minutes. No, you can't win it on the first corner. As we have Dominic Ferris making a move and Philip Morton.
Very nice clean move, straight up the...
Sorry, Dummy, you go.
It was a very clean move by Dominic as well. Had that sized up all the way down that straight.
Yeah, as I just literally caught Justin Wallace getting very sideways coming into turn 3, I think it is. And he's not running his paint, so as far as we know, he's a privateer. No, he's part of the race on Oz, boys, so...
Oh, contact at Ravage. Oh, under the BMWs is around. I think that looks like Matthew Allen.
Going back to a replay to have a look at that.
Oh, Matt Allison was very committed on the inside, but looks like he's missed the apex slightly and unfortunately made contact and sent the other BMW around.
Ooh, as he's got no damage by the looks of it on his... Going well as the BMWs are out in front again. Stephen Lattimore with the fastest lap time. He is not actually showing up on my JRT. World 192.
William Mitchell and Josh Burton side by side heading into Eau Rouge Radeon. Burton commits to the corner as the Porsche backs out of it wisely. Has a good chance for a draft to perhaps getting back to the Lecom S's.
You know, if you're going to go too wide, it's generally the best if you're on the outside to back out of it, and then just set it up for the next corner if you can. Because you've got that nice long straight to do it. As we have Scott Chambers being attacked by David Mole. Probably just butchered that name for that. I apologise.
Ah, you get that, mate. I've butchered a few names.
Ooh, David Clements has had to take the shortcut through Lecom as well. Oh no, he's been helped around. Heading into the entry of Lecom.
As we'll probably go to a replay for that.
Yeah, with Scott Nolan.
Like a bit of a late move, which possibly drivers can't quite see at that point because they get focused on the turn, and Scott's come down on Dave, unfortunately, and contact's been made and been looped around. This car's going to be very sensitive to touches like that, unfortunately.
One little tap and you're around in these things. Got a nice little battle back here from 14th down to 17th.
Yeah, great little 4-car battle going on here. Bit of ring ding ding by everyone, which is great to see, as we have moved around the outside by Jeremy Clark.
Wow.
Can he get that to stick?
He's
Amazing.
got the inside. Oh, a bit of contact. Get out of me way, he says. Oh,
Ooh,
not happy about
those are the lights. He's not happy. Not happy.
You know, 2 different lines going into there it can make it tricky as well. And you take
Yeah.
a wide entry line in to try and cut back down. No. Scotty Nolan is around, unfortunately. Let's have a look and see what happened here.
We go back to a replay to have a look at that. Find out what happened exactly with Scotty. Oh, the Porsche gets tipped and yeah.
2 teammates by the looks of it too, getting into it, and then unfortunately getting ping-ponged into Scott Nolan, which has sent him around.
They'll be having words in their Discord channel, no doubt about that. As Tyler Blackburn's back on the track.
It's good to see Ty finally make it out, which is good.
Yeah, as he's missed the last couple of rounds of last season, but I reckon he'll be back out to prove a point.
Well, he's got plenty of time to try and catch it up, which is the great joy of these longer races. So
Yeah, definitely. As Matt Allison has dropped right back on my timing screen at the moment. Right back. He is currently sitting. He's done his one of his pit stops. Going to repair a bit of damage. No doubt. As there's 2 compulsory pit stops, must change tyres in one of them stops. So it's all up to the drivers whether they take their tyres in the first stop or the second stop. It's entirely up to them. But on a cold track like this, you'd nearly want to take them on your second stop. What do you boys reckon?
I think you can go either way with it, really. Unfortunately, when it comes to mean strategy, I'm the most terrible person for that, so... I believe that's probably a good question for Ross. He knows what he's doing when it comes to this.
Make it look like I know what I'm doing.
Well, then you do it very well, don't you?
Well, look, what I would be doing is if we're looking at, say, Stephen Lattimore trying to stick with Craig Edwards, they're lapping at about the same pace, and as are the duo behind them. So they're not really getting anywhere in terms of, you know, getting an advantage on their rivals. So this is a good opportunity to save a little bit of fuel to make at least the fuel stop quicker. As for the tyre stop, it's difficult to decide when to do it. But you might want to go off strategy. For example, if you think your rivals are going to go for the fuel stop first, you can take the tyres and maybe have that longer stop done first.
Yeah, that's right. Like, no doubt, Stephen Lattimore would be trying to work out what Craig Edwards is going to do. Whether Craig's going to take his tyres first stop, second stop, so he can stick right behind him. No doubt, because we all know what Craig's life like. He takes his pit stop and then he just comes out, puts the foot down, and says, "See you boys, I'm going." As
Another
he's shown
joy.
the last few races, so
Yeah. Another thing that we may also make it difficult at the moment is we've got a pretty cold track, about 19 degrees. So the tyres are going to last as well. So you could pretty much go, well, you can't, but you could pretty much go most of this race without having to change them. So I don't think in the long run, when you choose to do your tyres might make a difference, unless it's sort of towards the end.
yeah.
The issue on a cold track, though, with these rather durable tyres is it does take them a little while to come up to temperature, so the undercut might not be as viable an option, but it could be more of, say, a long-term benefit that you'll just have fresher tyres. But that immediate gain probably won't be as extreme as what we're used to.
Yeah, I guess it just all comes down to what these drivers want to do strategy-wise. Hopefully
Yes.
it'll play out to be a interesting race.
There's a nice queue of cars forming up behind Nathan Upperts heading out of Radion. Nice mix of manufacturers in this one.
Literally just went on board with that.
And just another thing I thought I'd add in quickly is that oh, and we've got Huppets off.
Oh no.
It's like just missed the braking marker and he's just run straight through the corner, which
Oh,
will impede us. Will give him a slowdown. So that's possibly put ends to his wee battle there, because currently he's lost 3 positions out of it.
yeah. And he's just pulled back in, so 3 positions out of that. He won't be happy with that one, but knowing Nathan, he is a quick driver. He will make back up.
Oh, nice attempt from Adam Gardner on Justin Wallace. He's still there. Good spatial awareness from the two to run side by side through Puon. How do they go through Fangio? Oh, Josh Burden decides to go into the
Adam
mix, and
Gardner
that's
has
not
just been
great.
tagged. Oh, who's that in the background to come off? In the BMW. That is Scott Chambers. Coming a bit hot in the Century batteries looking livery. Oh, he just got touched up again. So battles all the way around this track at the moment, which is good to see, especially for the GTE cars.
Oh! Big crash coming up to Puon. Oh, massive shunt rollover.
We'll definitely get a replay of that one. Definitely now.
Jeremy
Won't be
Clark
surprised.
upside down too.
I will not be surprised if a safety car does not come out for that. He's literally on his ear.
No, that's very unfortunate
Wow.
for everyone involved.
As we're going back to the replay, have a look at that all unfold.
Just looks like David sort of come across a wee bit while Jordan's gone to take a bit of a tighter line, and unfortunately the contacts just set the cars off, and unfortunately Jordan's gone directly into the path of Jeremy Clark, and he's gone for a few tumbles.
Just got sent. Just got sent.
Yeah, look, I'll be a little bit harsh there, but I think if Mulhall was focusing more on the road and less on flashing headlights, probably have 3 more cars still in the race.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of flashing lights when you're racing cars for position.
there might be people slightly different to you on this one, Ross. But another thing for the series is we've got a couple of fast repairs that they can use. So if anything like this does happen in Jeremy's case, he's got a second chance at it, but unfortunately, because he was stuck on the side, he's going to have to wait for the tow.
Yeah, that's the only downfall, is waiting for the tow. So I'm just looking at GT3s, they're all very nicely spread out actually at the moment. The only closest battle I can see is where's he gone? Scott Gamble and Tyler Bowen. The GT3s are all pretty much spread out, keeping it clean.
Does anyone know if Scott is streaming tonight from his YouTube or Twitch channel? He is?
Yes, he is.
Doing so through Facebook. So if you have Scott Gamble, you might be able to get a look of this race in the GT3 Audi.
So there we go, that's it there. Both cars not giving each other racing room, both received a penalty.
Yeah, I literally just seen that.
It looks like Mulhall's up on the jacks though, so not sure if he's taking his penalty now or whether he's going to use his pit stop first up.
I believe he may have just entered the lane before that was called, so
Ah, yes. So he might need to make another tour.
possibly.
Yeah, because the way the penalties work, you're not allowed to do anything doing 20-second stop and hold, so very interesting to see how that one plays out. Chris Whitaker and Troy Maguire battling out. Another nice little battle going on here. What is there? About 6-7 cars in this battle.
Yeah, it's a continuation of this amazing top 10 fight.
Yeah, it is. And then you got Scott Chambers on the rear, and just probably trying to catch back after his little offs he's had, but he'll catch back up.
Yeah, still quite a fair way to go off this race, which will also help.
Yeah, we're only 20 minutes in, so still plenty. 1 hour and 12 minutes to go of this endurance race. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal way to start the season, but I reckon with it being night and it actually being a pretty cold track, it's probably a bit of a blessing in disguise for them.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine a more fitting combo, an endurance race at Spa at night to begin the season of GT and GT3 racing. It's kind of a match
One that would challenge the drivers and make them wonder why do we do this.
That there. Oh, we have a spin in the background. That is Trent Thomas and
Trent Thomas and Dean Ross, I think.
Yeah, I was just I can only see Trent Thomas.
You know, we've had
Dean's made a small mistake and slid into Trent.
you know, looks like Dean's just got on with a bit too much pace, trail brake the Fez, and then just lost it going through the right-hander, and unfortunately Trent's been left with nowhere to go except into him.
Very lucky he didn't get put on his lid there, Trent Thomas. Very lucky.
He got very close.
He did.
But that is close as you want to get.
There you
Car
go.
917, you have a 20-second stop and hold for causing collision. I repeat, car 917, 20-second stop and hold for causing.
There we go.
That's Dean Ross, sorry.
Yeah, Dean Ross, and that was a very quick penalty to come out of race control as well.
They must have been watching that straight on.
Also noticing the battle for the GT3 lead has closed up massively. James Gillum had a fairly comfortable lead a few laps ago, but Liam Tipping has really clawed that gap back.
Oh, that's going to make that interesting.
Yeah,
Got an interesting,
Oh, he has.
dynamic. Interesting dynamic because we got the Merc, which we know has fantastic punch out of the slow corners, but the BMW's got fantastic handling.
Yeah, and like last season, the BMW was just dominant in the GT3s. So it's good to see a Merc out in front for once.
Now, is that down to the drivers that were driving it or the car itself?
Well, probably the
Come on,
drivers.
be honest.
Probably the drivers, I reckon, because there is some very, very talented drivers out here. Trent Thomas is in the pits at the moment, getting his massive repairs.
Yeah, after the impact that he had, it did do quite a bit of damage, at least aesthetically, to the car.
Probably
So it could have.
Probably call the medical team over just to check on him.
But before that incident, both Trent and Dean were fighting for the top 5, so they should be on for a very intriguing recovery drive for the remainder of the race. So it should be good to keep an eye on them.
And just while that was being mentioned, we've had a minor collision between Dean Ross and William Mitchell. Looks like Dean was going for a move into, turn 3? Names are gone.
Oh, so they come again for Dean Ross.
But this time, He's just sort of gone to take a normal racing line, not realised William was there, and come over the front of him. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure Dean's not liking Lacombe at the moment. Probably his least
Yeah.
favourite corner on this track.
Yeah, pretty safe assumption, quite frankly. It's bitten him twice badly.
Now that'll be interesting to see how that plays out if race control give William Mitchell a penalty for that, or Dean Ross cops another one.
No,
There's
no,
a
that's...
good in the YouTube chat. Hayden. Why'd you miss the start, Hayden?
Yeah, Hayden, why are you missing the
Come
start?
on, mate, get your life together. Probably getting abusive. Probably get an abusive comment now.
So we've got reports that Joshua Burden has in a battle. He's coming into the pits and he's got a fair whack in the rear end of that Ferrari.
Oh, yeah, as literally I just went on. No, I wasn't live. My bad.
Are you watching replays and not telling us?
Oh, I was in replay mode. Come on, Mitch.
Can you give us these replay modes that we can see that you're watching?
Yeah, they're good. Good hacks in life.
Yeah, so Joshua Burden, I'll assume this is for one of his 2 stops.
As we go for a look at the GT3 leaders. Probably even right on board with Liam tipping for a lap or so.
Yeah, just quickly looking at the Joshua Burden stop, I'm going to assume that was to get his fuel stop out the way, as it was a 14.5-second stop.
And probably throw a fast repair at the car to get the rear panel straightened out.
Yep, that was exactly what was done. So now poor excuse, it's not that hot out there, Hayden.
Had to go for a shower.
A shower before a spa. Sorry, I had to do it.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Oh, I would never have thought that.
I mean, it keeps the spa clean.
Yeah, well. That's true, very true.
Who wants a
Very
clogged spa? No one.
Nah.
And currently our field is pretty spread out. We've got Trent Thomas making his way through some of the GT3 cars after his stop.
Yeah, pretty much the closest battle we've got is for the GT3 lead, really, at the moment, between Liam Tipping and James Gillen.
Yeah, Tipping just got a wee bit crossed up going into Puhon then.
Into what? Hoo-hong?
Puhon!
Oh.
Hey, look, I didn't name these
Here
tracks.
we go with the corner names again.
I think I got that one right, leave me alone.
That's Ross's department, I think.
No, he was right. Also, just pointing out that Chris Whittaker is up from 17th and now in the top 5.
That's
Wow.
an amazing effort.
What a
We've
drive.
got David Miller and Dean Ross in the pit. I'll keep an eye on that to see what sort of stops they're doing.
Like tyres for Dean.
And by the looks of it, for David, fuel. So yeah, David Miller's 16-second stop for fuel. It'll be interesting to see what Dean does here.
Now, I don't know, but on my timing screen, it says Stephen Lattimore. Oh, he's still out there. I don't know what's going on my screen.
Well, what are you seeing on your screen?
He just dropped 10 spots.
Could be a timing loop issue.
I don't know, but he's not letting Craig get away.
The gaps seems to be steady at the moment, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no doubt Steve will be out to get the first win of the season, so let's see.
He will definitely be trying.
Has he got the last win of last season? But other than that, everyone's sort of spread out now because the pit
Yeah,
stops
we've got
are coming into
we've got
play.
a car on the wall at Radion and Eau Rouge. Paul Nichols, and I think that's a 3-car accident, I believe.
Paul Nichols, Matthew Allen, and
Oh. What's happened here? What's happened here is we have Michael Spittle coming through, and unfortunately, they just haven't. Looks like Michael's backed out just a wee bit early and all that, and yeah, and then another GT3, Matthew Allen's also ended up in it somehow. Actually, almost looks like Allen's had some sort of technical issue because the car's just gone straight.
he might have.
I think he was second guessing where those two cars were going.
Oh yeah, it's also an issue. And it's very difficult to sometimes tell with the angles that sometimes contact's made.
Oh, here we go, on for the GT3 lead, heading into Blanchimont. Beamer right behind, right underneath the big Merc rear wing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we've got a safety car.
Safety car.
Oh no,
No,
I
bit
don't
of a
think so.
type, bit of a type error there, I think.
Yeah, we just got a false alarm call.
False alarm.
I reckon Race Control's having a joke while they've got nothing better to do, and they've accidentally hit something.
Especially when it says pace car in this lap, then says safety car accelerate away.
Yeah, look, that's one way to confuse our drivers, isn't it?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, you know, this battle.
You'd laugh if they all slowed up.
Oh, that'll just. I believe afterwards there'd be a lot of angry drivers, especially if they lost it.
Yeah.
Especially if they lost out.
As I'm watching the GT3 leaders here at the moment, Liam Tipping going for the move for the lead.
Oh, can he get it done, Delaycom? Who's going to be the last of the late breakers?
He's got it done. Very nice drive.
Well done. Beautiful move. Textbook move, really. He used the draft down straight and then just got it done. Will he be able to hold it? Because right now he's in the sweet spot for the BMW in the tight corners. But will that Merc be able to...
2/10 faster a lap as well, so
So
see if he pulls away here. As I've got reports too, car 331 and 38. The GT3s between Paul Nichols and Michael Spithill was deemed netcode, so there's your
there
answer to
wasn't.
that one.
There was a fairly big gap between the cars.
yeah, but yeah, we'll just go with it on. We'll just go with Race Control's call on that one. We could interpret. We could talk about it every way as long as we wanted, and we'd still all come
Side
back
by
to
side,
answers.
down the Camel Straight, Huppets and Whitaker. Whitaker on the inside, commits a little later on the brakes, and nicely done.
Yeah, we've also got another battle just behind them too. Scott Chambers, Adam Gardner, and William Mitchell as well.
Oh,
So close. Two big boys going through, and
Well,
Scott
admit,
Chambers has made it through.
They are leaving a lot of racing room. Oh, as he's just blocked him just there.
Mate, he's allowed to make his one move in defence. That's not a block. Once he starts moving back and forward, that's the blocking.
One defensive move.
Exactly.
Other than that, everyone's still going fairly well.
I think Craig Edwards is just starting to break away from Lattimore.
1.1 seconds is the margin now, so Stephen Lattimore still holds the fastest lap, so
Now, could this just be due to maybe trying to save a wee bit more fuel?
He's kind of dropping a little bit too far back to get the benefit of the draft. I think Craig's just finally gotten into a rhythm or started to break Lattimore's driving rhythm and started to break away just on speed. That said, they do near identical lap times that time by, within 200ths of a second. So maybe just a small mistake from Lattimore on the previous lap.
Going off the previous few lap times, lap 12 and 13, Lattimore was that tiny bit slower. Maybe a couple of mistakes here and there. But
So we're at the halfway point. I expect a few more pit stops to happen as Nathan Huppets has just entered the pit lane.
Yeah, got a
Alright.
quick visual on that. I'll keep an eye on seeing what he's doing. Well, looks like he's doing both
Fuel and tyres.
Now that's going to be interesting because he needs to do 2 stops minimum. So that could throw a bit of a spanner in the works.
Does anyone know how long you can go on a tank of fuel?
Full tank
Long
fuel
enough.
in these cars should last around about an hour.
Oh, okay.
So whether he's just whacked half of what he needs in to finish the race. So 18 to 19 laps, they should last. Thanks, Brody. Thanks for that, mate.
We try.
Hayden in the YouTube chat, never trust Mitch's timing. Well, Hayden, I don't see you out here in the grid, mate.
Yeah, I don't think we can trust Hayden's timing either.
Oh, Hayden, you left yourself wide open there, buddy.
I'm glad I've got back up tonight.
And by the looks of it, our closest battle at the moment would be for 9th through to 11th with the 2 Pulse Racing Team Century cars and the Mark 1 BMW car. It looks like.
They've seen your paint in there, mate.
But yeah, it looks like Adam Gardner's just falling off, and we've had something happen. Tyler Bowen in the wall going through Blanchimont. What's happened here? Are we going to be getting a replay of this?
Net issues, flashing, not bad. Crazy.
That's unfortunate.
I can't even
For
find him
him.
on track. Liam Tipping is slowly pulling away James Gillam, but they've got Trent Thomas coming up behind him now too, so...
And Trent Thomas is still clawing his way back from the incident that he had earlier on. Currently this is for, even though they're not in the same class, 4 position.
Yeah. It's,
So,
top
As long
20.
as long as Trent gets by cleanly, we should be fine.
This
But-
could be the break that Liam Tipping needs to break that draft.
That could also
Yeah.
be the downside though, because that could possibly bring that Merc closer to him. This Trent went pretty deep on the brakes there by the looks of that.
Trent is trying left foot braking for the first time, so might be part of the reason of that lockup. But yeah, he's using this series as a great way to ease his way into his new driving style, because he can always find people close to his pace and have some clean racing while he learns the new braking technique.
Well, that's the thing, this is the AMF GT development series, so...
So our leaders, current GTE leaders, currently caught up in GT3 traffic. Now this is going to make it interesting. This could either bring Lattimore back in, which by the looks of it at the moment it has, to the back of Craig Edwards. Yeah, with traffic that can also, even for the shortest period of time, can throw you right out of your rhythm. So it'll be interesting to see if Craig can pull that gap back out.
That's worked very well for Stephen. Now, they're probably a fair few laps away from catching the main group of GT3 cars, so they should be okay for the next little while, but what might be an option is to pit to avoid getting balked by traffic.
Well, they'd near be due for their pit stop as they've just started laps today, and I'm just looking in the background there. Paul Nichols just ran very wide onto the grass on the straight, so I don't know how he's done that on the straight. Probably
He's
leant
flipped
over,
it off the wall.
leant over to grab his beer, maybe. I don't know. Said, "Hold me steering wheel. I'm grabbing me beer."
Yeah, unfortunately, I think in this case with driving GT cars, it's a bit difficult to use your knees to steer
Yeah,
and control your pedals at the same time.
yeah. Yeah, it is. I've tried it. Doesn't work. Does not work. Someone's gonna try it, don't they?
So, Willie Mitchell, Scott Chambers, and Adam Gardner still embroiled in a battle for the bottom end of the top 10.
You know, they've been having a very good battle throughout the race so far.
And none of them have pitted yet either. So actually, none of the top 10 have pitted. So
No,
they must be all due for a pit stop very, very soon. Like I don't know what them BMWs are like on fuel. All the Porsches, but I know the Ferraris are pretty good on fuel. As they don't hold as much as the other two, like full tank wise.
Now I've got a question for you boys.
Yeah.
What team do you reckon at this stage, of, opening round would be the best presented team for, say, liveries?
Well, depends what the broadcast is looking at. 'Cause the broadcast does not actually run off trading paints. So, Pulse, I reckon.
I'll put a shout out to the Exto gaming car, because it's kind of like an asymmetric kind of look that they've pulled off quite nicely. So
Who's that?
Dominic Ferraris.
Let's have a look. When he pops up. Oh, yes. Yes, that is a very nice livery. If it's the right livery that's on the broadcast. White, red and blue.
Yeah.
With a smashed up rear wing. Looks good.
Yeah, it's kind of taking the asymmetric look a little too far, but still looks pretty good.
I'll tell you what, I don't mind, who is it? Troy Maguire's paint on that Porsche. Alright, it's black on the broadcast, but on my screen it's orange and blue.
On my end, it's black. I think you need to sort out.
Got Chambers on William Mitchell making...
Oh my God, Scott
Oh,
Chambers off
that
as we
was
go to the
close.
battle. He would have received slowdown for that, but he's probably got it in probably one of the better spots where he's already off the throttle, so he can try and use that to try and pull it back a wee bit, and then you can also just run a little wide through some of the corners.
Yeah, it looks like he's back up to speed now. So it hasn't cost him much at all, and now he can just tuck along under the in the slipstream of the cars ahead. Maybe get that position back.
You have two Beamers in the Porsche in that battle, and yeah, they've been battling very well. I think that's the only issue those boys have had so far this race.
And Liam Tipping has absolutely checked out from James Gillum in this GT3 lead. Actually, I think James has made a mistake. He was in the 2:17 bracket before. That last time around was a full second off that pace.
That probably had something to do with lap traffic, as the GTEs are coming through, so...
Yeah, it looks like he went side by side with Dean Ross at Blanchimont.
You know, that doesn't
there you
sound
go.
like fun.
No, it doesn't. There's got Tyler Blackburn behind them too, catching up as he's crawling his way back through the field. So
We've got two cars in the pits, Justin Wallace and Chris Whitaker. First two in the top 10 to take the stops. Keep an eye on them to see what they're exactly up to. Well, so we've got Chris Whitaker taking tyres and Justin Wallace overshot. And he's had to be pushed back a wee bit, and he's also doing tyres as well.
So they're all due to come in. So we're on lap 19 now. So I'm expecting Craig Edwards. Well, technically, I'm expecting everyone to be in the pits for GTE. I don't know about the GT3s.
Now I've got a question for everyone. I tried this strategy almost every endurance race we did. Is you come in, you do your fuel or your tyres, and then the very next lap you do the opposite. Do you reckon that's a viable strat?
Oh, I like that idea. I think it's more dependent on the track. So a track like this, or Monza, for example, where you have strategies open to you because of the sheer nature of the draft, you kind of want to stay with the pack. But if you are at a more of a tighter, twistier circuit, then I absolutely would think your back-to-back pit strategy would be very, very clever. So long as it doesn't put you back in the traffic of the other class.
Yeah, that's another issue. If you want to do it, if you get caught up in traffic after a spin or something early on in the race, you've got to, and you think, oh, I can get one of these stops out of the way. You've also got to take into account that you've got to be careful that you may end up putting yourself in the middle of the GT3 field.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Damo, but we've got Craig Edwards and Stephen Lattimore in the pits, so whether or not see who takes tyres and who doesn't.
Phil Morton has gone to do another lap, as has Dominic Ferraris.
Yeah, as they're all Troy Maguire in the pits. Who's next in line? William Mitchell and Adam Gardner. Oh, they're both in. They're all going out for another lap, so.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Craig Edwards popped up on the jacks there. So doing fuel lane tyres in the one stop. And there we go, Lattimore is away.
Lattimore's gone.
So
Lattimore
that is a
hasn't
strategy play.
He has not done tyres. But did you notice the way they both pulled up into the pits?
Yeah, both
Yeah,
Edwards
that
get a
angle.
straight exit out.
Yeah.
We've still got Edwards sitting there.
Now this is
and
a
he's just
clever
down on the
play.
jacks now.
Yeah, this is a clever play from Craig, because with Stephen behind him, he could not break away. But now that they're completely separate on different strategies, now he's got the chance to win this race by pumping in some faster lap times.
And
That's
as
also
we've seen
true.
in the past few races, like I said before, once Craig does his pit stop, he just puts the foot down and just goes to a whole different level.
Oh, I think he just picked up a slowdown there.
I think he did. I think you are right.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. That's not how you do it,
Yeah,
Craig.
it's-
Craig knows 100%
Oh,
that's not how
no.
to do it.
Now he's going to have to put the hammer down and do at least a second quicker laps for the rest of the race.
Yeah.
But is this a possible time for him to get that tyre stop now done out the way? Wait, he's done tyres, fuel stop. And is there a possibility he's done some of his fuel already?
Yeah, he would have taken some of the fuel in that first stop, so he'll have a much shorter second pit stop because he'll have to take less fuel. Meanwhile, Stephen will have to take the tyres. So they'll meet each other again on track, but now's the time to put the hammer down to see if he can actually gap him.
Yeah.
Looking at that, Craig Edwards' stop was 37.4 seconds, so.
And we've just had...
And Lattimore's was only 18.5, so.
I'm just going to have to skip in over top of you there, Mitch. We've had Trent Thomas being passed by Huppets down into... Oh, runs wide. Yep. So he's just run wide. That sort of scared me because with these cars, you run that little bit wide onto the grass and it can just send you around. But it was a beautiful pass.
This GT3 ahead of him does pose a little bit of a problem. He looks a little bit slower than the leaders, so they'll want to get past without getting too caught up. He looks like he's getting out of the way.
We have Philip Morton. Everyone else is in the pits now. Philip Morton, Dominic Ferris, Adam Gardner, Scott Chambers, Dave Clements, all in the pits.
So there you go. Looks like
Yeah, Mitchell has stayed out. So 21 laps.
That's an impressive. Now that could just be down to how the Porsche burns fuel too. They all have slightly different fuel burn rates. So Dominic's taken tyres. I believe Philip Morton has also taken tyres as well. So now this is going to give us a bit of an idea on where everyone is, but at the same time, possibly not, depending on who's done what stop first.
Now, I thought Craig Edwards was a bit further behind Lattimore than what he is.
Yeah,
He's not
Edwards
that
also-
far behind.
he's the whole LA comms behind.
Not really.
Yes, really?
7 seconds.
that'll be the slowdown for Craig, I would have thought.
That would
Yeah,
have been slowdown.
and the longest stop. I believe the next lap probably be the best one to see what they're doing pace-wise.
Yeah. No, and Craig though, he'll just whip out at 2:10 or something ridiculous.
Alien juice, alright. Crikey, if he's doing those.
pitted?
James Gillam.
Yes, the Mercedes from second, more effective second place. I think he has.
I think he has, because Liam Tipping is nowhere
Just
to
done.
be
He's just Tipping's just done his pit stop.
Oh, he has too.
28.7. So I'll assume there's tyres.
Oh, rewind it. Have a
There wouldn't
look.
have been much fuel if it was 28 seconds.
Yes, he has. He's up on the jacks, so he has taken tyre.
Okay. Maybe a short stint in this one and then put the fuel in the next one.
Maybe he's
Maybe.
maybe he's throwing my idea of do one lap and then the next the other. And we've got P. Lee into the wall coming into the pits.
Into the wall.
Yes.
Oh.
Would I lie to you, Mitch?
Oh well.
Okay, yeah, no, don't answer that question.
No comment there, mate.
Don't answer it. He's just, by the looks of it, he's come through the bus stop and just given it a bit too much angle and a bit too much throttle and misjudged it and found the wall.
So there's only two that have not pitted, and they are GT3 cars.
William Mitchell's in the lane. Got Nathan Anderson in the lane as well as Trent Thomas.
So that'll be Trent's second stop.
William Mitchell
Yeah, it would be,
coming
actually.
out.
We'll have to see if, well, look, we've got 41 minutes to go. He might have enough fuel to get to the end, so he might be able to play himself back into contention after that early crash.
It'll be interesting to see how he plays that out.
I'm just looking on top. Craig Edwards was a full second quicker than Stephen Latimer on that last lap.
Oh, a second and a half, correction.
Yes, a second and a half.
That's a slow lap from Stephen, though, so it might have been a mistake or a bit of traffic. But he needs to get busy, Stephen, if he wants to try and win this.
Yes, and I know what he'd be thinking too.
Now, is there a possibility with Steve being slow, because he was a bit slower towards before they pitted, is it possible that he's used up some of that tyres being stuck behind Craig's draft, going through some of these corners?
It seems plausible. Let's also recall that Craig is now on fresher tyres, well, tyres that are 2 or 3 laps old now, and Stephen has yet to make his tyre stop, so there could be an advantage just in sheer tyre life.
And we've had Trent Thomas retire from the race.
Thomas.
Oh,
which
he
is
has
unfortunate.
too.
Trent.
Doesn't like left foot braking. Well, it looks good.
Well, it's not.
Blame
We've
that.
kind of went from bad to worse pretty quickly.
Craig Edwards that lap Lattimore
No.
13.813 and Edwards with a 12.350.
We've just had a new fastest lap set by Dominic Ferris, a 2 minutes 12.032.
Oh, that's
that
bonkers.
That's stonking.
That is, so he's on a mission too.
And we've just got word that we've got a couple of drivers in the GT3 field with 22 laps going at the moment on their tanks.
Scott Gamble and Grant Matterford.
So they would have to be getting close now, I believe.
Yeah. And you guys get my official nod of approval on that one.
The fuel savers nod of approval. If you have not seen this man, Ross, do some excellent fuel saving, you seriously missed out.
As
And
Scott
we've got
comes
Gamble
into the
coming in.
pits. Funny enough, he's the only Audi out there too.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers.
So, as I did drive the Audi last few races before I jumped in the commentary booth and found the Audi actually pretty good.
Maybe it just suits your style. I know it
Crazy.
doesn't work with me.
Crazy. That's my style.
Oh, I was going to say so. I'm going to keep it to myself now.
Nah, come on, do it. Do it.
Didn't know you could drive.
Yeah, either did I. Why do you reckon I'm in here?
Fair point.
Last on the pit, Nathan. Grant, sorry. In the
Silly boy.
pits.
We've also had Scott Nolan come in the GTE field.
Yeah,
Doing well. He's only done 2 races so far. He did the final race last season. And I'm just giving him a shameless plug, so I'll step back now.
plug away. No, he's done well.
Now,
Just noticing Stephen is really struggling now. That's another high 13. Craig's just going to walk past him at this stage.
yeah, you
Yeah,
took
I
the
would-
words right out of my mouth there, Ross. I was literally going to say all that. But, yeah, this strategy is not really working out well to
So if
Yeah,
that
for Steve
is
at the moment. Oh, there, Dominic's
another
on a
one,
mission.
wow.
2 minutes 12 flat, so Dominic's
that
on a
is
mission.
bonkers.
He's only 13 seconds off the lead.
Well, he's right behind
Jeez.
Chris Whitaker at the moment too.
Yeah,
As
he'll
got
be
that
getting
massive draft.
Yeah, that's going to be probably the next battle to watch. And I reckon Lattimore needs to get off these tyres. He needs to get and do that stop now, because he is losing too much time to Edwards. And I reckon if Edwards were to go and do his, what did he do? His fuel? If he went and did his fuel now, he's going to leapfrog Lattimore.
You'll want to wait
Just.
to do that fuel stop, quite frankly. Get a lighter car at the end of the race. So just stay out and lap by yourself.
What if you see a heap of GT3s ahead?
Just send it.
Lick the stamp.
All right, Ricardo, calm down. Look, I'm just throwing all these ideas out there. I don't know what I'm on about.
The way Craig's going at the moment, if Lattimore doesn't come in and pit, do something, Craig's just going to fly past him. There's, we go back in the field and have a look at Dominic all over the back of Chris Whitaker. With them times, I can see why he's all over the back of him.
Oh, he's only got that fast because he had draft. I joke. But that draft
I
definitely
hope
would have
he-
helped.
I hope he sends an abusive message.
Look, I wouldn't blame him. I apologise in advance. Hey, look, for those lap times, if he's been on the back of that draft, they definitely would have been helping. So
Also-
I think, in a way, he might be having to thank Chris for those.
James Gillum has also pitted from the GT3 battle. And also notice that Matt Allison has taken the lead in GT3.
Allison running with it. Yeah.
This Craig Edwards is a second and a half quicker than Lattimore on that lap again.
Oh.
Yeah, this could be done by the end of the lap.
So the lead's only 200 tenths. Craig's right up his bum at the moment.
And Ross, you noticing that Allison's in the lead here? He's only done 1 stop, so he's still got 1 more to do. Same with Liam Tipping and Scott Gamble in GT3. There's a few others as well.
So has Liam done 2 stops or just the 1?
Give me a second. He has done just the 1.
Okay,
That
because
was
we
a
saw
28.
Liam before the pit stops. Liam was comfortably leading and gapping the field, and now all of a sudden he looks about 10, 15, 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, Tipping did a 28.7 stop. Allison did a 3.4.
3.4 second stop.
Yeah, now I'm getting confused here. This is scary. So we head to the front of our GTE field, and Craig Edwards is right on the back of Lattimore. Those tyres, our champion from last season, Craig Edwards, is now right all over the back of Lattimore, and those tyres on Lattimore's Ferrari must be hurting. Do you reckon that would be a good time to get those tyres, Ross? Or do you think Lattimore should? Do you reckon Lattimore should stay out a little bit longer?
Honestly, I kind of feel like his options are all washed up, to be honest. But I am wondering if this is genuine tyre degradation. Then won't Craig go through the same phase later in the race?
He's on the outside. They're going to be side by side here.
Oh
I'm
wow!
closing
Around
my
the
eyes, I
outside,
don't want to see this.
That's amazing.
Lattimore
Please
won't
wanna
take. Lattimore will not let him get away This is
And
going...
Lattimore backed out of it.
Oh, he
He
did.
puts it a little bit wide, but he managed to hold it through there.
But he will get the draft, though. Whether or not Craig keeps it to the inside, which he does. So...
Yeah, this will be an interesting run. This is going to get scary. Lattimore on the brakes that little bit early, and well done, Craig, on pulling that up. I reckon Lattimore should have sent it around the outside.
As Dominic Ferris has gotten past Chris Whitaker too, so he's on a charge as well up through the field.
He's only 10 seconds behind Craig now.
Do you reckon Craig's going to pull away now that he's got the lead?
100%.
Well, he's already pulled out half a second gap already.
Oh, that's impressive.
So, as we've gotten the
So let's have a look here. We've got Philip Morden in third, GTE. He did a 12.363 the previous lap, and Lattimore was a 13.565. And yeah, Philip's done tyres, I believe.
with a stop like that, yeah.
35.5. So
Do you know-
Everyone seems to have taken tyres, except for probably Joshua Burton has not taken tyres,
and Lattimore.
and Lattimore. As we're looking at the YouTube chat, Ross Thalen, that was a bit rough, Damo. What did you say, Damo?
I don't know. What did I say?
I don't know. And then we've got Trent Thomas in there. Rest in peace, M8.
Oh, poor
That
big
was-
boy.
That was just unlucky, Trent. You just had a bad run, mate.
And we've got Scott Chambers in. Scott Chambers has come in. Now, what sort of stop does he need to do?
I don't know, but Craig Edwards has just pulled out a 2-second lead already.
Ouch.
So, wowzers. That's all I've got to say is just wow.
Also, I think I need to give another shout out to Liam Tipping in this BMW. He's the only car in the 2 minutes 16 brackets. Everyone's struggling to even be in the 17s by the look of it. He's absolutely flying in that little Beamer. The Beamer Junior, I guess.
Beamer
Yeah.
Junior, I like that one. As we go back to Lattimore and Edwards, Lattimore's last lap was a 2 minutes 15.2 to Craig's 2 minutes 13.4. Something's
Well,
going on.
That was on
something's
the
going
lap.
there.
That was on the lap where they battled.
Could have been, but Edwards is out to a 2.5 second lead, so something's going on there. It must be the tyres.
Yeah, if Lattimore's hoping for the tyre dig to come back to him on this next set, and for Craig to burn them up, it's going to be interesting.
Oh, look,
'Cause
he basically needs to pit now. The longer he
Yeah.
waits, the more
The worse it's gonna
longevity
be.
a podium is going to be. Yeah.
Because Craig's experienced enough to know he doesn't need to push now. He's probably not even pushing at the moment and pulling away, whereas Steve's probably having to push to try and stay as close as he can on those shot tyres.
Like Phil's starting to close in, probably about a second a lap, and then you got Dominic Ferraris, who is absolutely flying at the moment. He'll be on him in no time.
Yeah, and Lattimore's in.
Finally, he pits. I think he might have been waiting for the fuel window as well to get enough fuel in the car to get home. Because yeah, I think he's left that a fair bit too late.
Yeah, well, this will be our way to find out, and we've just got to wait for Craig to do a second stop now. And we've
A
got
2
Chris-
minutes 12 from Craig.
Wow, a 2 minute 2 minute 12.260. That's his fastest lap of the race so far.
And then you've got
Not the
Dominic
fastest lap
Ferris.
of the race, but
Then you've got Dominic Ferris as well. Closing in on Philip Morton fairly quickly. As the gap is now only 3 seconds.
Yeah, Dominic was half a second faster to Morton on that lap. And
Lattimore comes out of the pits with a 29 second stop.
yeah, this will be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't want to go on limb here and say that Lattimore's left it too late, but there's a possibility that he has, because now, by the looks of it, he's got some GTEs, sorry, not GTEs, GT3s to contend with coming up. It looks like it's only 2 of them, so it may not be that bad. And for now, I believe that makes our closest battle Dean Ross and David Miller coming out of Lismore on the run up to Eau Rouge and Rallion.
Sorry, but what a name for a corner, Lismore.
Get over it.
I like it.
Oh, you like it?
I like it. That is a nice name for a corner, Lismore. Grant Matterford and Nathan Nightingale battling in the GT3s as well.
Yeah,
the
and
Merc's
that-
got the run.
Oh,
Yes,
look
the
at
Merc's got the run.
Look at the
beautiful
big
run.
beast.
He's got the horsepower, has he got the brakes? Oh no, the Beamer fighting back.
Now, does Grant have enough to hold it round the outside? Yes, he does.
They left each other a lot of room going through
Another-
there too.
Another thing I've noticed on the back of that Beamer is there's quite a bit of back-end damage as well. So that rear diffuser being all bent up may not help Nathan in this case.
No, as we have the GT3 leader currently in the pits, Matt Allison.
So he's just done, yep, tyres, and he's already heading on his way out.
Well, look who's coming past the pit now. Liam Tipping.
Yeah, and we're still waiting on Scott Gamble to do his second stop also in GT3.
So if I'm correct, GT3, it is a 1-2 for Race on Oz.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Am I correct there?
Oh, no,
Sorry.
corrected.
In corrected order, I believe you're right.
Yes.
And by the looks of it, yeah, I'd say you're right.
So then BMWs again.
It's a little
I'm
weapon.
It
I believe-
is a very nice little weapon of a car.
I believe around here, even though there's the long straight for the Kendall Straight, I believe the Beamer is nimble enough, the Z4 that being, to take some of those higher speed corners quite nicely. Like, where are we? Puhon. I believe that'll have its big advantage there as well, as Grant Matterford lets David Mulhall through.
Scott Chambers and Dave Clements battling at the moment in the M8s. Probably
And
really
just-
the closest battle we've got. Sorry to cut you off there, Damon. Sorry, mate.
You're not sorry at all. Just going to pipe in and say there that Simon Mazzomo's slowly catching up to the back of them too.
Looks like Dave. Sorry. It looks like Dave is starting to struggle a little bit for pace, and both Scott and Simon are catching him.
And also, we have Philip Morton and Dominic Ferris in the pits for their second stop.
Oh, look at the angle as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Philip's going for that straight out line. Dominic has not done that. Dominic's going to have to make a bit of a harsh turn to get out and not take the back of that pace car out. Philip away with a 14.6. Dominic 16.2. So that'll be interesting to see, and Nathan Hupperts will be all over the back of Dominic as well as they head towards Eau Rouge and Rallion.
Now, where is Lattimore?
Oh,
He's only entering Eau Rouge now, so he's lost out massively to those guys.
I was going to give you a cheeky answer and say he was on the track, but yeah, you're right.
Wow, Lattimore has lost out big time.
Yeah, it almost looked like he took a bit too much curb there somewhere. Did he? Ooh, right on the borderline, I'd say, of getting a slowdown through Rowdy on. But he's pulled out all right. Let's have a look here. Adam Gardner and William Mitchell still to stop. Same with Nathan Huppets. And Chris Whitaker's all over the back of Adam Gardner. He's made the move too, as he clears him going into X. Yeah, so that's an interesting. We've got to keep in mind that Craig Edwards, Josh Burden, Huppets, Mitchell, and Gardner still need to do their second stop.
Ferraris is right behind Burden as we speak, and it looks like he's going to lose a fair bit of time because Huppets is only in the 13th, where we saw Ferraris consistently in the 12s. Who is that going off? Yeah, there was a car off the road at Paul Frere. Tyler Blackburn.
So he's not having the best missing due to technical issues. Scott Gamble in the pits for his second stop in the Audi, as Nathan Huppets. Adam Gardner in the pits, and we have a battle, Nathan Huppets and Dominic Ferris. So
This
Dominic
is-
should get the draft.
Yeah. The longer he stays behind Josh, the more it's going to hurt his race, because we know he's at least the second fastest car out here tonight, so he needs to get a hurry on to make sure he gets onto the podium.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As he's going down the inside, so Nathan Huppets, is he going to give it easy to him? Well, he has. So
Yeah, he might have wanted to play the team game to hold up Ferraris a little bit more, but I think he's got his own race to worry about at this stage. Does Nathan?
yeah, that's exactly right. And I believe we've just lost a commentator as well, Damon. It's just
Press F to pay respects to Damon.
yes.
I'm back, don't you
Oh,
worry.
he's
I'll
back.
be there in a second.
Yeah, a bit of technical issues there, mate.
Yeah, I think I just got lattermored. There's a stab for a couple of seasons ago. Apologies, Steve.
Oh wow. Okay. Anyway,
I'm
that
not happy.
escalated quickly.
How good are in jokes when you're on the outside?
Oh, we've got a car off. Nathan Anderson running very wide at turn 5, I think it is. So, other than that, it's all pretty clean racing. With what have we got left? 20 minutes left of racing. So I'm guessing Edwards should be coming in here very shortly for his second stop. As we have a move here, sorry, Stephen Lattimore and Chris Whitaker. Chris Whitaker, I can't remember if Chris was in front. As Chris just pretty much gave him that position, said here you go, take it. Joshua Burden in the pits, Paul Nichols coming out of the pits. Well, Nathan Anderson running wide again at the last chicane, so something's going on there. 10 laps on, yeah, so his tyres are only 10 laps old.
Talking about tyres, looks like Lattimore's pace has improved a bit. He's now in the mid-12s.
Yeah. Scott Chambers, Mark, oh no, wrong one. Dave Clements and Simon Mes. I still can't say his last. Oh, I call him-
Mesomo.
I was going to call him Simon Mez.
Yeah.
Mezza.
I think most people call him the Mez anyway.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
call him, if he was a Mazda fan, Meme Zum Zum. But that's just me.
Only you'd come up with that.
Look, I'm a bit different, put it that way.
Yeah, well, no comment there.
I left it wide open, but alright, if you want to go that way. Good. Thank you.
We'll do it after the broadcast. There's Craig Edwards is in the pits for his second stop, so
I assume this will be quite fast.
yes,
we're
well,
looking.
11.5 seconds on my timing
Yeah.
screen.
11.5. Where is he compared to everyone else?
Out in front still.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
David David Miller, by the way, has had a massive off of Puon. There's a lot. I think that car's crap.
There's,
That car doesn't look straight, that's for
no,
sure.
we'll bring up a replay of that, I reckon. Yeah, no, that Porsche does not look healthy one little bit. Yeah, no, it does not. Yeah.
It looks like he's just gone back to have a look myself, and he's gone into Pujon, and I think he's just had a bit too much brake, and then blocked the rears or something, and it's angled to cut the track, and as he's hit the curb, it's sort of come right, and then it's just fired him across to the right-hand side, and into the wall she goes.
Wow.
So it is very not happy.
No.
It's
Especially
definitely.
with, you don't want that to happen, especially with 16 and a half minutes to go in this race.
It definitely doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It does not. But where is Lattimore? Lattimore's
Lattimore
sixth.
is-
Oh, sorry, third. Third?
Lattimore. No,
he's
you're wrong.
sixth.
Fail.
Sixth?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
he's
this
currently
time's great.
6th and 23 and a half seconds behind Edwards. So he's lost out massively.
He has. Dave Clements. Go with that nice little battle pack.
Yeah, it's very close between Chambers, Clements, and Mizomo. And Adam Gardner, if they battle hard enough, he'll be back right into this.
Yeah, from P10 all the way back to P13. There's Joshua Burden's coming up behind him too, so...
So how we're looking, top 3 currently, GTE, defending champion Craig Edwards, followed by Philip Morton, and then Dominic Farris. And in GT3 currently is Liam Tipping, Matt Ellison, and James Gillam. So that's...
So James
Come on,
Gillen's
Steve,
lost
pull
out of-
pull your finger out.
As James Gillam has lost out of spot there. Race on Oz 1-2 for GT3s.
Yeah, I think Matt Allison has pulled a sneaky in the strategy. We completely missed that, but he's played himself into second really nicely.
Yeah, as I was in the server when they do qualifying in, and Matt Allison was up there with the times too, so I think he was second fastest in that lobby for GT3s as well.
Yeah, I've just jumped on board with Jeremy Clark, and he's almost lost it, but he's saved it very well. It's very difficult to save. I believe he's in a Porsche. We've had Simon Mizomo in his FT1 Porsche in for, I believe, what would be his final stop.
Was that his second or maybe his third?
Second, third.
Second
Um,
and third? Like
No,
it.
it's the second. 11.2 second stop.
There's yeah, Dave Clements has just got past Scott Chambers there. Oh, Dave Clements has lost it. Oh, teammate has just near cleaned him up.
Oh,
Wow,
Josh Burden
right.
picks up 2 spots.
Look at that. So Dave Clements will be kicking himself over that one, I reckon.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
too deep under brakes, lock the rears.
with the big.
Scott Chambers got
MA.
through it quite nicely. Did not alter his line one bit.
No, and the real winner out of that little battle pack was Joshua Burton picking up the 2 spots.
Yeah, well, he held back just enough that if anything were to happen, he'd be in a good spot to get through, and that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We've got William Mitchell.
Nathan Huppert's in the pits for his second stop.
So that
And William Mitchell, sorry.
yep, which will leave.
So that should put Lattimore back up to 4.
Correct.
Where is he? Better keep an eye on that battle between Dominic and Philip Morton, as Dominic has taken 0.5 a lap out of Philip Morton's time, so it's going to be a battle for second position here, I think.
Dominic actually started on the front row alongside Craig, but it's taken him the entire race to get back to where he started, but he has worked extremely hard to get those spots back.
Currently looking on the place changes here, we've had both Chris Whitaker and Dave Clements up 12 positions in GTE, which that's a pretty big feat. And I would say taking advantage of opportunities that have come with people making mistakes.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, some strategy in the stops.
Geez, don't be afraid to give him a little credit.
Look, I could be completely wrong with anything. They could have just been awesome. Driving skill being the only thing that they had in this race. Mind you, if they've had to avoid accidents, you'd need that. So by the looks of it, we roughly have 6.5 laps left of this race. Craig Edwards currently 14.4 second gap to Philip Morton. That's a 1.4 second from Philip Morton to Dominic Ferris. Ferraris. Gosh, I've been pronouncing that wrong this whole night.
Yeah, so have I.
He's literally driving a Ferrari, and there's an S
Stop
on the
it.
end of his name, boys.
So we'll just So then that brings the question: Ferraris or Ferraris?
Good question.
There we go. We'll let you tell us that one, Dominic.
Yeah, we'll ask him later on.
It's a cool name nonetheless, though. Must mean he's fast.
Your name's got a ring to it too.
He still holds the fastest lap too, so
And that 12 flat is absolutely bonkers.
that's a good effort, Randy.
And he's done 2 12-0s as well, and he did them back to back.
Talk
that's
about issues.
That's having a crack.
Also, a quick shout out to the guys at Nexto Gaming. Normally, they're a lot more vocal on the YouTube chat, getting out the pom poms for all the the Nexto lads that are in the race. Guaranteed, if there's an Nexto car in the race, Brad Ratu, all over that YouTube chat.
Oh well, we should probably try and get this out to him then. Because I don't think he's here, because we have not seen pom-poms.
No. No, we haven't actually.
So rude.
So, Ferraris is going to get this move done. He's only got just under 9 minutes to go, so that would be, what, 4 or 5 laps?
Oh.
Yeah, JRT's saying 5 laps to go.
Right. We can put this all down to guesswork. We could be 5, we could be 4, it could be who knows.
Nobody knows.
Well, no, I'm not even gonna. No,
The race knows, but it won't tell us. There's going to be one bloke that knows.
No, that battle we were watching earlier with Gardner, Chambers, and who was the other one in that battle?
Burden?
Clements has
Clements.
really spread out since that incident.
Yeah.
They're almost joined at the hip, and now they've all spread out.
Yeah, and now at the moment we've got Chambers trying to keep up with the back of Burden as they're coming up through coming up to the GT3 leader, sorry. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, he's got nothing to gain by rushing this, so
Yeah, but then it's also one of those things where you want to get by the slower traffic as quick as you can so you don't have the guy behind you catch up, because this is for a top 10 in GTE.
yes, it is.
Yeah, another thing to point out that we probably should have mentioned earlier on is that it's a bit more difficult on the brakes for the GTE cars. Sure, their brakes are better, but they've got to modulate the brake pedal, whereas the GT3 cars do not. They have ABS. So at some times it can be difficult to get past some of these GT3 cars, especially if they don't cooperate with you. So we've had a pass for change for position. Dominic Ferraris, or Ferraris, we still haven't figured it out, has got past Philip Morton.
Morton was avoiding a spin from Jeremy Clark at Pouon. That nearly ended his race.
Oh, the worst place to see that happen in front of you.
Yeah, Jeremy's waited way too late to slam on the brakes on that. The car's almost come completely back onto the circuit, and then he stopped on the racing line.
And then that's just held Morton up, and Ferraris has got around the outside, which is a beautiful move.
As we go back to a replay of that, so we will go to a replay of that. Sorry.
Yeah, and after that, with Phil having to check up, he's lost a lot of speed, whereas Dominic's managed to go through that corner at a still fairly rapid pace. Currently, Craig Edwards, your leader, with a 15.8.9 second gap to Dominic Ferraris in second. Philip Morton just behind him, Stephen Lattimore in fourth, and Chris Whitaker fifth for your GTE field. For GT3 we have Liam Tipping, Matthew Allison, James Gillam, Scott Gamble, and P. Lee will be sixth. I was only aiming for the top 5 in each class there, but alright.
You went a bit further.
I got excited.
It happens. It happens.
Oh, and the battle's on with Scott Chambers and Adam Gardner. They are really going for it. I think Chambers has made a mistake somewhere, because Gardner wasn't that close to him.
Well, hang on.
Wee touch. Oh.
Well, guess who's
getting
caught back up? Guess who's caught back up to Dominic Ferraris for a shot at second place, Phil Morton.
So it's not over for second and third on the podium.
As we've got a blinking car behind him. I don't know if it's just me, or can you guys see that too?
Yeah.
I want to say it's just you, but no, it's not. Tyler Bowen blinking in and out with that Mercedes.
Oh, and he's nearly
All a bit
lost
crossed
it.
up.
He's nearly lost it.
Hey, he saved it. I guess
Drift.
Formula skids,
Can block.
if you say so. But yeah, going back to Adam Gardner and Scott Chambers. Scott Chambers lap 37, a 14.472, whereas Adam Gardner a 14.453. So something's happened on that previous lap, which has brought Gardner right back up to Chambers.
Just looking at my timing. Looking at my timing screen too here, boys. Stephen Lattimore half a second quicker than top 3.
I believe he's left that run a little too late, unfortunately.
I think he has, but never say never. There's Philip Morton and Dominic Ferris are going. Ferris, Ferrari, Fez.
Yeah, not the lap just been, but the lap before that, lap 37. Lattimore set his quickest lap of the race with a 12.139.
Yeah.
So Lattimore's got pace now, and
he's left it a bit late, I think.
I think he's just stayed out a bit too long on those tyres. I reckon maybe at the most 3 or 4 laps, and he should have come in, as he lost far too much time.
Yeah, definitely.
But hey, you never know in this sort of racing.
You'll learn for the next one.
I believe our next.
Oh, Scott Chambers around. No, Adam Gardner around. Who turned him? Scott Chambers.
Who turned who?
So there we go. We'll go back to a replay of that one.
Yeah, so coming into corner name that I had forgotten.
Lecom.
Was there contact? Leave me alone, Lecom. But Oh, you sure? I think there might be the tiniest amount of netcode in that. But you're just going to say it. Wait a second. I'm talking to myself. I've lost it. I'm going insane. Somebody send help. Anyway,
we always
Craig
knew
Edwards.
you were weird.
Under 2 minutes to go, and Morton, closest battle for the podium at the moment, Dominic Ferraris and Philip Morton. There's barely anything between these two at the moment.
Tell you what.
Edwards has just checked out, so well done to Craig Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely classed the field tonight. Well deserved.
Definitely. There's probably mostly.
I'm not being blamed for anything if it happens now.
Here we go. Ferraris going defensive down the Camel Straight.
And Morton closing up. Slight move. Morton back down the inside.
Oh, look at the commitment.
Beautiful.
Oh, and he's got it done.
Oh.
Can he hold it? What a beautiful move into Black Hole.
What a battle. What a battle. We'll be keeping an eye on this one for the next minute.
The question is, though, do you really want to do that move this early on a track where draft in places is so important?
Well, they still have the last back stretch to come yet, too, so.
Well, Phil caught him in a fantastic position because you could see with the way Ferraris was moving down the Camel Straight, he wasn't sure, should I defend it or should I stick to the line? And then Phil basically
just
caught him napping and made him regret whatever decision he did make.
Yeah, as Phillips he's pulling the gap. So, as we've just got a report, there'll be one more lap to go.
Yeah, Craig Edwards coming up to Blanchimont at the moment, currently with a 14.3 second gap, I believe. Catchy.
More on.
No, you need to slow down. I think 2 laps before to do that.
Slow down a wee bit. Who knows?
Just stop.
We'll find out in a second.
He wants another lap.
Yeah, and we've just begun the final lap of this race. So Craig Edwards in the battle between Morton and Ferraris is back on. Right on each other. Currently looks like the closest battle on track as well, other than Dave Clements being right up the back of Simon Mazzomo.
This will be the most important run through Eau Rouge and Radion that they'll have the entire race.
This is the one spot you need to get right coming onto the Kemmel Straight.
Oh, Ferraris has nailed that.
He was pushing, he's got a
he's even on the
fantastic
grass.
run.
Yep.
Oh,
Just
okay,
white line it, Phil. White line it.
Phil can't hear
He's
you.
going to be way too far back. I was hoping he
I
could.
like your thinking, but Ferraris 5k's quicker on the Kemmel Straight then, thanks to that great exit and the draft. Look at Morton go defensive.
All defensive.
Very defensive. Probably didn't have to be that defensive then because Ferraris was that just far enough back.
You're never safe than sorry, though.
That's also true. And traffic being nice here, getting out of the way for this battle for the podium.
Oh, sideways from Phil.
Oh,
He's pushing. He's pushing that car.
These two boys will be pushing so hard.
Phil looks like he's narrowing his apexes a little bit too much now. Defending clean air, but he's also making sure that Dom just doesn't have like one of those really bold late braking maneuvers.
Yeah.
Dom having no regard for the incident point there.
Final lap.
Yes,
May as well go
yeah.
for it.
Well, as Craig
And
Edwards
just-
comes up to the last chicane,
Yeah.
that's the bus stop.
What a brilliant run he has had. Great show. Concentration.
That is good.
Today.
That's a good start of the season to defend your title. So
That's the best way to do it. As we quickly jump back to Ferraris and
side
Morton.
by side. A bit of a
Contact.
touch. Oh,
That's,
what
well,
a
that tells
battle.
us how that's going to end. With Morton P2, Ferraris P3, Lattimore in 4th. What could have been for Lattimore, but he caught up a lot on those final 2 laps. And we've had Troy Maguire and Chris Whitaker with contact. Was not just, I believe it was Chris Whitaker.
Yeah, Whitaker's
Chris
run
Whitaker.
deep.
Whitaker's run
As
very
we
deep.
go back through the field, William Mitchell and Joshua Burden. Oh wow, that could have ended very badly, but they've held it all together.
I mugged him on the final lap as Josh Burden.
Yeah, well there was a GT3, Nathan Nightingale in amongst all that too, so
As we have your GT3 leader Liam Tipping coming through the bus stop to end the race for that field. Congratulations to him. Flashing the headlights away with Matt Allison coming up behind. Take P2. Fantastic result for Race on Oz in GT3 class. Simon Mazzomo holding off Dave Clemens as well. Who do we have here? James Gillum in 3rd. Just behind him, Scott Campbell in the sole Audi in the field. Martin Casey finishing a lap down.
I just want to point out that Scott Gamble had amazing pace catching up to James Gillum in the final few laps of the race for the GT3 podium.
Yeah, it's been a great battle throughout both fields tonight. Been some really good racing. Only a few accidents early on in the race, but other than that, it's been really good.
that was a pretty good night of racing, really. Craig Edwards defending his title in style.
Yeah, I believe coming to the end though, there will be a couple of incidents looked at, I'd believe. Especially on the final corner.
Yeah, there always is on the final lap. Some people just think, send it.
That's all you can do is send it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is very, very true. That is very true.
Yeah, it's a great race tonight by all.
Yes, it's very, very good race. Just start off the season with a 90-minute enduro at Spa at night.
Because nighttime is the right time. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're silly. And that's coming from me.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a smart idea we do the results.
Yeah, take it away, Damo, or Ross, one is.
Oh, that's a terrible thing.
Ross can have a go.
Oh, my big moment, boys. Thank you.
No problem, anytime.
Okay, so GTE field dominated by pole sitter and reigning champ Craig Edwards. Fantastic drive from Craig. The second place was Phil Morton after holding off a very fast charging Dominic Ferraris. Fantastic battle over the last 2 laps with those two. Stephen Lattimore, he pushed Craig earlier in the race, but fell short in the mid stint with those old tyres. Chris Whitaker up 12 spots, well done. Troy Maguire, then we have Justin Wallace, Josh Burden, William Mitchell in 9th place, and Nathan Huppets rounding out the top 10. Then in 11th, we've got Scott Chambers and Adam Gardner, who seem to be locked together that entire race. Then we had Nathan Anderson, Dean Ross, who had a recovery drive, a few crashes earlier on, Simon Mazzomo, then Dave Clements, David Mulhall, Gary Cousins, Scott Nolan in 19th, and then David Miller rounding out the top 20. And then last runners to finish were Michael Spithill, Jordan Pruden, and Jeremy Clark.
You've missed one there, Tyler Blackburn as well, unfortunately. Didn't make the start, and Trent Thomas DNFing earlier on. Your GT3 field, Liam Tipping and Matthew Allard race on Oz, first and second. We've got James Gillam third, Scott Gamble fourth, Matthew Allen fifth, P. Lee in sixth, up 6 spots as well. Grant Matterford in seventh, Tyler Bowen in eighth, Nathan Nightingale in ninth, Paul Nichols in 10th, Martin Casey 11th, BJ Kennedy in 12th. And the last two being race control. I would like to give a big shout out to Century Batteries Lismore for making this night possible. Same with the RMS software that we use.
Right, now, time for some interviews. Who should we bring in first?
Don't know, who have we got?
Well, we've got the...
How do we normally do this?
We'll just drag 'em in and
GT3s,
start talking
1, 2, and 3,
GT3s.
boys.
So we'll bring in
James Gilliam.
James.
Oh, he's got his
Gilliam.
mic muted, though.
He's got his mic muted, so we'll skip him, we'll go to Matt Allison, and we'll come back to James.
Or should we go tipping, Alice, and just do it that way?
Yeah, mate. We'll just drink. I'll surprise you.
Ooh.
Liam, tipping. How you going, mate?
Oh, super.
Nice run there, mate.
Yeah, not bad. I haven't really been on iRacing for about 6 months, so I'm pretty happy with it.
6 months and you come out and just do that.
Yep. Yeah, no, pretty good. The guys have done a pretty good
You've
job
done
on
a
the
lot of prep, haven't you?
Nah, I've done about an hour of practice.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate, you're not meant to
yeah,
tell us that.
You're lying
Oh,
now.
well.
You're lying.
No, that's what happens when you have a missus.
So, was there a lot thought about strategy tonight, or did you just sort of wing it?
I sort of went the idea that I'd come in for fuel tyres first, sorry, because I wanted to get a few laps on as light a fuel as I could, so I didn't go too hard on that second set, and I had a bit extra pace at the end. And then Matt was my biggest worry because I knew he pitted about lap 3, so I didn't know where I was going to pop out in relation to him.
You know, that's fair enough. You've done an awesome job to come back from the break that you've had and come out and take the GT3 and rookie on top step of the podium.
Yeah, and it's good to have Matt second, so 1-2 for the team. We'll all be pretty happy with that. I think the guys in GTA did pretty well too, so all round pretty good for us.
Pity there's no Constructors' Championship, mate.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame. It's just because you're not racing with us anymore, mate. We'd be winning everything.
Don't bring me into this. Do not bring me into this, mate.
Water into it.
But anyway, Ross, you got anything to ask Tiffy?
Oh, I just noticed the opening laps battle with the Mercedes of Gillam. How did you find that dynamic chasing down the big Mercedes?
It's a bit interesting because you range right up onto the back of him, and then as soon as you get to the straight, he's off again. So really, I just kind of sat there and waited, and eventually I got a good enough run out of Radian to get him down the end of the Camel Straight. But biggest thing behind a Mercedes is patience, because if you don't get him a good run out of the corners, he just leaves you on the straight.
Well, anything to add, fellas?
Have you got anyone you'd like to thank? Sponsors?
Oh yeah, I suppose I better thank some sponsors. Thanks to Ian at Harvey Bay Autoglass. He's doing a great job being the main sponsor and giving us a real nice livery and everything. And then to Ignition, Pagnian and all the other guys. Thanks for your support. They've been going for a while, and it's good to get a win for them.
Well done, mate. Brilliant return. Look forward to seeing you next round.
Yeah, hopefully we can come out and do the same thing, get another one too.
Here's
you
hoping,
turn
mate.
up. If you turn up, and, if you misses lecture, I should say.
Oof, yeah, well, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. No, well done, Tiffy. Top spot of the podium, mate. Well done. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Awesome, thanks, guys.
All right, that's our.
Who are you going to now? Are you bringing in Matt Allison?
We'll bring in Matt Allison now.
I'll
P2.
unmute my mic now. I'll come and talk to you.
Steve Kirk's going to come in and have a chat with us. Huh?
No. You do the interviews, mate. You know what you're doing. You moving Matt Allison down or what?
Right, we'll bring Matt Allison in. P2 for GT3. Matt, how you going, mate?
Yeah, you good, mate?
How did you find that race?
Yeah, mate. I'm battling a cold at the moment, a bit of the man flu, so I'm struggling a bit. I was gonna back off halfway and go for a spew, but I thought, nah, I've got to try and get on top of.
Okay, that's a bit much.
That's definitely a first.
To know.
I guess it was a secret to his second race pace. Get this race done faster. Instantly finds a second to lap.
But no, it was a good race. It was a good race. I don't share your strategy with your team, mate, because
No, what was your strategy?
Yeah, you sort of
I
came
ended
out of nowhere.
Yeah, I ended up pitting. I knew that I had a bit of speed. My quali was pretty ordinary, so I ended up pitting on lap 4. Just took a litre of fuel, and then just at the back of the pack, just kept on grinding out laps, and could see that I was catching them back up. But then all the GTEs did, and I kept on getting interrupted by them coming past. So it didn't work in the end, but still, it was good fun.
Pretty smart way to go about it. It looks like it actually worked as much as you kind of play that down. Done an extremely good job, so you should be very pleased.
Yeah, cheers, Ross.
Any sponsors you'd like to thank there, Matt?
Oh, mate, Harvey Bay Autoglass. They always get a shout out from me, mate. Otherwise,
Keep Ian happy.
that's exactly right. Otherwise, I might get in a bit of trouble.
Don't take nothing from him. No, well, beautiful job, mate. Second on the podium for GT3s. Beautiful job. Hopefully, we'll see you next week.
Hopefully so, mate.
And you can
Catch
go
you
one
later.
better. Go one better.
Yeah, that top step would be.
Yeah.
Well, you might be
Matt.
lucky. Tippy might not make it.
Otherwise, I might punt him. Fear the right.
Ooh. I'm sure that'll go down well.
Lattimore's going to send you a message. That's all right, mate.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
Beautiful job, Matt.
Oh, well, James Gilliam has his mic still muted, so how about we skip that and we could go up to the GTEs and grab Dominic Ferraris and ask him if it's Ferraris or Ferris.
Righto, I'll drag him down.
I've already done it. Dominic, how you going, bud?
Good.
P3 in the GTEs. What a run you
Yeah.
had tonight, mate.
It was lots of fun.
Well, you sound so calm, bud. You sound calm as. That was a hell of an ending.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
fun.
Now, first question I want to ask you: how do you pronounce your last name?
Ferraris.
Ferrari.
So we partially got it right. We started a mid-race
No,
debate whether it was Ferraris or Ferraris.
No, Ferraris.
Oh, well, now we know. We shouldn't butcher it anymore.
You're 50% right there, Damon. How'd the setup hold up in the Ferrari, mate?
I don't know. First half of the race, I was struggling with it and had a bit of a spin because it just didn't really feel connected with the car. But in that second half, once the new tyres went on, yeah, pace went through the roof and I was catching Phil really quick and we had an awesome battle there at the end.
Oh,
He was,
no,
he
it
was
was.
setting some blistering lap times there as I'm looking.
Yeah,
screen.
you got the fastest, 2:12 flat.
Actually,
basically.
no. Take that back. Lattimore got the fastest lap on the last lap.
Ooh.
Oh,
That's
2:11.984.
2:11.984.
We should have checked that fact before mentioning that.
Yeah, where was you on that one, Mitch?
I was waiting till we bring
You're
him
fired.
Oh, Mitch.
in. No, that sounded mate. I didn't make it that way. God, come on, guys.
No, but awesome run you had tonight, mate. glad to see you in the series and stuff. That's yeah, it was an interesting race at the end there, man. Like you definitely you and Phil's battle was second to none there.
Yeah, I think the one overtake that really surprised me was when he stuck it up the inside with the smallest gap, and I didn't think he'd be willing to do it. But as soon as he did, I was like, oh, he's got me, because I had to pull out of it. I was a bit annoyed, but that's racing.
Oh, we're waiting for you to do the same back, but yeah.
Nah. I saw Lattimore coming, and I was like, ain't risking nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you've done the wise move there on that one.
All right. Well, mate, you have an open mic. You're on the broadcast. By all means, give a shout out to all your team, your sponsors, or anyone you'd like to thank, mate. Go for it.
I'd like to thank all my teammates at Extra Gaming and our main sponsor, Natrad, and our secondary sponsors, Gamers Apparel. Thanks, guys.
No worries, mate. Thanks for joining the commentary booth once again, and congratulations on your P3. You definitely represented tonight, mate. And yeah, we'll see you back here again in the next few rounds.
Thanks.
All right, boys. We got Philip Morton. You gonna bring him in, Mitch?
Yeah, I'll drag him.
Where you going?
Phil, how you going, mate?
Pretty good, and you?
Yeah, can't complain, mate. Can't complain.
I'm gonna put your name on the commentators list soon, Phil. Because you're in every week, bud. How's your run tonight, mate? That was a bit of a nerve-wracking watch of a race between you and Dominic.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful. He kept on being faster than me, and I didn't like it. So I had to try out every which way I could to not let him pass.
That's a good way of putting it. I didn't like it.
But, yeah, it was a really good fight. Really good awareness of where each other was on track. Never really touched each other until final corner, and yeah, that was nothingness. So yeah, great battle.
Well, you definitely sent a Ferrari through the whole of a Mini. That was not a bad sending effort. None of you's turned around, so.
Yeah, that was I'm coming through. I hope you're ready for it. It was definitely. I don't think there was anything left on the table after that one.
So that was a more like hold my beer, I'm going through here moment.
It pretty much. As soon as I realised he had left enough space for a Ferrari and maybe a wing mirror, I was like, yeah, let's do this.
It turned out to be a brilliant move and very exciting to watch.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I was just holding on for dear life at that point and hoping that he didn't turn into me, and he did. He held it perfectly around the next corner, so that was great. Yeah, I actually thought he was going to get me back on the Camel next time around, but it seems like he just wasn't quite close enough to pull off around the outside move, and I managed to hold the inside.
Was close there.
Very close.
Because he was 5Ks up on you down that straight.
Yeah, the draft down there is absolutely insane. Like, I was coming into that half a second back from him and being less than 0.1 coming into the braking zone. So it was really strong draft tonight.
All right, mate. You have open mic. By all means, give a shout out to all your team, your sponsors, or any you'd like to, mate. Go for it.
Of course, got to do a shout out for Demon Tweaks, Fight Colorectal Cancer. What was it? Sim Racing Collectibles, I couldn't read it from here, and Hybrid Racing Systems, of course, for all of the support they've given us, and of course to my teammates who made it so enjoyable in Discord earlier on. Lots of shouting and swearing. Oh, that's great fun.
Sounds like a bundle of fun.
Yeah, and also thanks to Dom, and of course congrats to Craig for another barnstormer out front.
No worries, mate. Well, congratulations on your P2, and we'll definitely see you in here again.
I hope so.
You say that every week, Phil. we have this conversation every week, but.
Well, I think there was one or two that I wasn't around, so
yeah.
we'll see what happens over the rest of the season.
Well, that's it. It's a good season opener for you, mate.
Well, it was indeed. I was coming in with a little bit of less practice than I'd have liked as well, so I'm pretty happy with coming up with second in that one.
Yeah, well, you definitely got the result, so you got to be pleased with that.
Definitely. Thank you again, guys. Thank you.
No worries, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. We actually have James Gilliam in the broadcast waiting room. Mitch,
I'll drag him down.
On you, buddy. Go for it.
James, how you going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. And yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Can't complain. Good run tonight.
Thanks very much.
How did you find the conditions and the setup and handling that big beast of a Merc?
Yeah, it was good. Treated me pretty well. I struggled a bit later on the race under the tyre degradation. It's my first time out, so new experience for me, but very pleased I managed to get the thing home.
No, well, you did an awesome job, mate. If it's your first time, you've done an excellent job. So, no, any of you boys got a question? Damo, Ross?
You had a great battle at the start of the race with the BMW of Liam. How did you find that?
I felt like he had the pace on me. He sort of had the experience on me, but I just had to sort of try and hold my nerve a bit and keep him behind me for as many laps as I could. So I was happy I managed to achieve that, but he really outclassed me in the end there.
So when you say you're new, are you new to GT3 in general or to just the series?
This season of iRacing is the first sort of GT3 I've probably sunk my teeth into, and this is my first AMF race, of course.
You look like a bit of a natural out there tonight, so I'm sure you've got some big expectations for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Ross. Yeah, hopefully hang around the top 5 and see you a couple more times in this room, fingers crossed.
I hope so, mate. Do you have any anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Quick shout out to my mate Todd Marsh. It's his 21st birthday today. And shout out to my teammate Matthew Allen in Red Tin Racing.
Beautiful job, mate, and hopefully we'll see you back in this broadcast commentary booth next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, boys.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, Steve, all over to you, mate. You can close the show.
You can close the show. You've been doing this show, mate. This is
You
your
opened
show.
it. You can close it.
All right, man. Look, from Podium Broadcasting and oils at AMF GT Dev Series, sponsored by Century Batteries Lismore, by the way. If you need a battery on the East Coast, by all means, give these guys a call. From a watch battery up to a truck or a bulldozer or anything, give them a call. They'll give you a battery. I just got to give a big, massive shout out from Podium to these boys that come in and help me out. Damon Mulqueen joining me for the season. Mitch Wiley also joining me for the season. And Ross Rizzo for jumping in as well, sporadically, and enjoying his time in here, hopefully. Did it go all right, Ross?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, the company could have been better, but I think it was all right. That was great fun. Hope to do a couple more races because it was a fantastic race, and it was fantastic being in the comms box with you blokes. And, yeah, hope to do some more.
Always welcome, mate. Always welcome. Look, big shout out to these guys, man. They give up their time and come and help you guys. Well, whoever watches the broadcast, most of the races do as well. You know, these guys give up the time, so it's a massive thanks for me to them. Thanks, guys.
Not a problem, Steve. Thanks for having me in here.
It's always fun. And we're off to round 2 of Season 8. We'll get some hot lap video stuff happening and a little bit of animation stuff happening with the overlays soon. So keep in touch and keep watching the AMF YouTube channel, not to mention their Facebook as well, because it's broadcast live on both. We do read the chat, so by all means have a comment or start a conversation with us. We do read it. As you can see, the boys were reading out a few comments earlier in the night. And yeah, tune in next week every Sunday night, starting at 8:35 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, massive shout out to everyone. Thanks, guys. I'll end it there. Have a good night. Peace.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
safety car, safety car, safety car. Slow down, single file guys, single file, safety car, safety car.